Hello and welcome back to episode 13 of The Witcher Chaos on the Pontar, an actual play podcast by Elsewhere and Beyond, run using the Witcher TRPG by R.Talsorian Games. So it's the next morning after those fateful events of the night before. Fluffy and Barksley are already up in the morning, the sunlight streaming in through the portholes, the boat rocking from side to side. It's been moving through the night. Sansa, however, soldiers on. She keeps her hand wrapped up. Vargan's work to heal her, leaving her in a good enough condition to at least be at the helm. Whilst Gorm, you have to take command of the ropes and rigging whenever more of the difficult work comes along, as I'm sure Vargan, Arthwin, and Fluffy also help you with.
Absolutely. Arthwin, as they've been taking turns and taking it in shifts, Arthwin has been taking to the physical work very well. He's been very focused and perhaps even too focused to speak or to hold a conversation with anyone. He's been very deep in the physicality of it.
The energy is very different on board the Acolyte today. There is definitely the sense of fracture somewhere in the air. Whether people are taking time out themselves to work through their own process, or whether people are just feeling cautious. Even Fluffy, walking around and checking on things, gathering tools, working on bits and pieces that he needs to repair from the night before, parts of the railing which have splintered, or ropes that need replacing. He doesn't crack jokes and doesn't offer too many smiles. On this morning, Oda, as you wake from your hammock, what are you doing?
I think, first of all, Oda would inspect her wounds a little bit, see if Vargan is already awake, if he's already up and left, or...
He will be up and awake upstairs above deck. And so just look over the waters silently.
So, Oda, you're downstairs inspecting your wounds. You've got these scratches, cut marks. Mostly shallow wounds.
Yeah.
Painful nonetheless, though.
Until eventually, I think, the events of the night before would come flooding back. She quickly shakes her head, trying to get rid of the thoughts, and... actually, probably go look for her stuff that she left upstairs, like her alchemy items and whatnot.
Gorm, what are you doing this morning?
Gorm is also, he's probably playing helmsman, kind of jumping up and down a bit so he can see over the railing.
Well, Sansa got you a bucket.
Oh, wonderful.
Turned it over, and you're there. And you do take charge a little bit, and your hands are both on the railings, and you peer over. You're often pointing off to the left with great vigor and determination.
Now look over there! Ah, yeah.
I know, Gorm. It's the same banks we saw a few minutes ago.
No, they're different when you're further downriver.
I think I will be heading upstairs, but one of the first things Oda will do, however, is instead of look for anyone, is actually try to go to the crow's nest and just face whatever she wrecked immediately.
You go over to the globe. Mm-hmm. 2 clicks forward, 1 back.
Yeah.
And you do notice there's dry blood on the desk and someone's attempted to mop up the mess around here. Luckily, you don't see any digits or fingers lying around. But the portal comes to life and you're able to pass through into the enchanted crow's nest. The room appears flawless, perfect, just as it was the first day you saw it.
I definitely do a spin of the room, just walk along everything, and just hard to imagine that it's all back to normal.
All the books are in the correct bookcases. The fire crackles happily away.
I think I will quickly try to look for the map and letter left there by Kalkstein. Just leave.
You can't avoid it. That surface tension that pops when you come up on deck. As now you are all approaching a settlement on the right, starboard side of the vessel. You look across the water and you start to see these high, tall cliffs in the distance. Probably another kilometre or two going down the Pontar. No more than a few more minutes' travel, possibly. Smoke rising from the settlement. Not the typical smoke that you would see of burning fires and forges and furnaces, but instead the ruin of war. The damage you already see from here is clear and evident. Walls that are chipped and marked. But nonetheless, as you do approach onto the deck, you hear the sound of somebody behind you.
Iota! Gorm waves.
Gorm, good morning. She
Good morning.
looks a little solemn this morning.
Swap the deck!
What?
Gorm is captain, you do stuff now, okay?
Gorm, you're not captain.
Gorm can be captain.
Oda, you don't need to mop the deck. I've already done it.
Oh, well, thank you.
With one hand.
I'm sorry. Oda swallows deeply and
That's why you have two hands, so you can miss one.
She seems to move on.
ouch.
Oda, wanna try steering ship?
Gorm, please, just a moment. Everybody, could you gather around? And she stands at the top of the overlook, the poop deck overlooking onto the main deck. As she speaks down so that everyone can hear her. We are approaching Castle Valette. If you do not know, if you've lived under a rock, they have recently had to deal with a rebellion. King Foltest of Temeria, before he perished, brought forth his wrath to show Castle Valette that any family living within his kingdom must keep to his rule. They have suffered, and now it is the people that remain that continue the work to rebuild the settlement. They will be desperate. They will need for much. You must watch yourself, all of you. We need not stay longer than we should.
Surely we can make ourselves useful and help some of the people here.
You reach a hand to some, everybody else reaches back. I must inform you all, Fluffy has been through the supplies this morning. We have enough for 3 more days of food.
Oh,
Our thoughts, of course, lead to getting provisions. You will not find any here, and we have nothing to spare.
Arthwin clears his throat as he's standing and looking over towards the castle. And he turns around and he speaks, breaking the silence that he's held for most of the morning. We can't afford to get stuck here, get bogged down helping people when we have a mission. We have a task we need to see done.
I agree.
but Gorm no like be hungry.
You don't want to be hungry, Gorm, or you
No.
don't like the idea of others being hungry?
Gorm likes to eat.
We should be careful. I agree with Arthwin. I would say get in there, find where it is you need to go. She looks at you, Rhoda, and do what you need to. Let us not linger for too long.
What about hunting or fishing?
We could do that, but we have not prepared for that right now. I do not have nets on this ship.
We get nets.
Try not to ask too much of the people with nothing, Gorm.
Ah,
Right, Gorm, get on the wheel. Arthwin, Vargan, could I get your help with the sails?
Arthwin wordlessly moves to help.
Oh, could we have a little talk for a moment? In my cabin.
Of course.
She strides down the side steps leading down onto the main deck and into her cabin, holding the door open for you. And Gorm, I'm going to ask you to roll me a sailing check to maneuver the ship into the docks of Valette Castle.
sail, sail, Gorm is sailing ship.
She really trusts you. 19. Okay, 19 is very good. I will come back to that in a moment. She closes the door. Not that there's actually any silence. Sorry, but anyone stood up on the poop deck can hear the whole conversation because there's about 1.5 inches of wood between where people are standing and the top.
Well, Gorm is singing a song right now, so.
Just like roaring as he does it. Do you have a little hat on that you kept for this special moment?
That, or did you craft one yourself with some paper or parchment?
Yeah. You know, like one of those little sailor paper hats you can fold. Yeah.
He just puts
So
it on.
cute.
And... Oda, Sansa goes and sits at the desk. With her good hand, she takes for her lute and places it on her lap. We haven't spoken since last night.
No, we have not.
And considering the mission, Oda, we cannot go not speaking.
Oda nods and she tilts her head, just looks at Sansa, waiting for what she has to say.
She holds the lute up, this beautiful instrument of a rich, dark wood, golden filigree corners, something you wouldn't expect a sailor to have. And she turns it over. She runs her finger across the back of it, where there is a marking, and says, "My father made this for me."
And now you will never be able to play it again because of something I did. I would come in here asking you for forgiveness, but...
Oda, my father made this for me. I cannot play it anymore, no. But it is still here. The moment I met Thorsteinn in Novigrad, and he asked of me what he did, something was going to be lost on the way. We never really know what it is until that moment comes. We are still here.
We are.
It will not just be me who is changed by the end of this. And I want you to know that's coming. We're all going to be different by the time this is finished. I don't think all of us will be here either.
I think the moment we stepped on this ship and decided to make this cause our own, we all expected things to be different. I hope we all knew what we were getting into, but I'm still sorry for your loss.
I am too, but I don't harbor ill thought against you. Do you see my ears? I mean, you look at these ears quickly, you would think they're human ears, but they're not. Their tips have been cut off, mangled, and simple physician work has been used to basically stitch them up. They are not what you would expect to see from the Unshare, the elves. This is not the first time I've had to deal with something that was out of my control. This will not be the last time. And I harbor no ill will against you. I saved your life. I lost my fingers. But I saved your life. I know, Oda, that you will do the same for somebody else.
Oda nods and actually takes a step forward, kind of bows her head and just squeezes Sansa's shoulders.
She leans in and she wraps her arm around your neck and she pulls you in for a hug and says, "Anyway, let's go out and stop this ship from crashing."
All right.
How's that going, by the way?
The Acolyte pulls into the narrow bay heading inland into Temeria, framed by tall and sheer rocky cliffs on either side. An unmissable sight of pocked and cracked fortress walls can be seen ahead, along with an excess of burnt rooftops and ruined towers that wind their way up to a grand citadel seated at the summit. This settlement is in ruin, ravaged by a recent assault. Against it, a crowd of dirty-faced commoners huddled towards the port side of the barge with a palpable air of desperation. "Food! Food from Redania!" calls a man. A woman yells, "Novigrad sends us their aid! God bless King Radovid!" Bargain, you already can see across from you standing on the starboard side. You have to move right over to the port as people are clambering up and holding onto the rigging, trying to get up on the side of the dock, as the rest of you are throwing down ropes to try and bring this barge to a stop for a moment.
Sansa, it seems they're about to climb aboard.
Sansa strides out of the cabin at your word. "All of you, get back!" as she calls out, and she stands up to the side, to the port side, holding onto the rigging, hiding her damaged hand. "Do not make my men draw their weapons. We have no supplies here. We are simply traveling through." People go silent for a moment. And then, a few seconds later, the rabble start to move in again. "They've got to have something! They've probably got supplies we can use to aid the wounded!"
Arthwin moves towards the edge of the barge, and in full view of this crowd, he puts his hand on the hilt of his blade, and he sort of half draws it. "I will repeat this only once. We have nothing to offer you."
Make me an intimidation check.
Oof.
There you go. There's a 22 for you.
A 22. The crowd goes silent. A few of them step back. One of them, grey, matted hair, many teeth missing, very kind of like weathered, aged skin comes forward. He doesn't step back. He calls out, "What are you here for? Couldn't you see we've got nothing?"
Arthwin sort of bows down to get a little bit closer to him, and he says, "We have nothing to offer you, but we are not here to take from you either. As the captain said, we are passing through."
He seems to not reply, mostly because there's a woman in the crowd who calls out, "He's a witcher! He can help us! Let him through! He's a witcher! Like the others."
Arthwin sort of just looks up and doesn't say anything, but is very attentive. The others.
Like the others.
Gorm will join Arthwin by the railing of the ship and just kind of poke his head up above, like, "Gorm, help too!"
"What is that?" says one man. "What is that?" He calls out with his fingers. Other people are pointing.
"It's Gorm!"
"The Witcher keeps a rodent with him! A monster!"
No, it's Gorm! Hello!
People start to take a step back. You never get to hear or learn more about the witches they were speaking about, because Gorm's presence has made the crowd walk away as they start to step back, murmuring and gossiping.
No new friends.
The man with the old grey hair and the matted grey hair stays for a moment longer. You don't know what we've lost. You don't know what we've lost." And he turns around.
Arthwin physically relaxes, dropping his arm from the hilt and lets out a sigh. Very obviously relieved that didn't have to go any further.
Vargan finishes the docking with the ropes. Says, "Oda, if you give Sansa a hand with the plank so that you guys can alight." She does look a little nervous to you and back. "I don't think I can stop all of these from boarding. Have we got anything we can do?"
Oda nods, and she starts to rummage through her pouch a little bit before she finds some salt, and I will try to draw some salt lines across like the entryways of the ship.
What are you doing? What will this do?
Hopefully it will make them think twice. Turn away.
Barksley stay in what ship?
Buxley, good. Buffy and I will be here as well.
Should Gorm stay?
Hopefully, however, this will stop them from trying to at all.
I'll try not to disturb them. Gorm, no, you need to go with them.
Okay, but Gorm worried about Fluffy.
Buffy's fine.
He's so small.
He's very small.
Very small.
You're very small as well.
No, Gorm big.
Sansa lets you get on with the ritual. Now, did you want any help with that from any of the players?
Actually, Oda does seem... So she starts drawing the salt lines, but for actually infusing them with magic, she thinks twice. Seems a little nervous, and will look towards Vargan and ask him for help to just... Yeah.
Bless her,
Make
maybe?
sure she's doing it safe. Yeah, bless her or something. Or oversee that she's doing it safely.
He is going to take her hands into his own and, in the old native tongue, pray to the crow father. A different entity than a crow mother. As she doesn't know how to raise a kid from a father's point of view, so he refers to the father instead.
The father instead. Maybe the cousin when needed.
I don't know what to do, cuz.
All right, if you go ahead and make me a standard spellcasting check and mark off a point of stamina, I imagine you still have to. It always has to at least cost 1 point. You have good focus on you.
All right, so this is the last 5 hours then for you, Kim, if I don't blow up. I blew up.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Right.
You do blow up.
Okay, so you lean forward and you put your hand on Oda's. You begin to speak, and as you're going to touch her fingers and wrap your hands around hers, there is this burning hot cindery smell in your nostrils, Vargan, and it disturbs you for a moment. It's like there's smoke in your eyes, like black smoke. And then you start to hear a woman scream in your ears. Oda, as Vargan goes to put his hands on your arms, this other woman's face, just from his point of view, completely masks yours. And that this flesh is ripped and burnt. Get off her! There's a sudden surge of flame in your fingers as your fingertips and the flesh around your palms are burnt. And you let go as if you were like shocked.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say.
Oda, I would like to have some words with you later.
Oda looks confused.
Do me a favor and turn around. That might be a little bit easier.
Okay, if you're sure. Alright. Oda turns around.
So from his limited mind of the medieval ages, at least, now he can't see the face on her face, so it won't be as scary if it happens again. So he's going to try again, but more appropriately call out to the mother this time. For all he know, whatever that other presence is, maybe just really doesn't like the Crow father, so he has to expand his horizons.
This has daddy issues!
And if this also fails Kim, then I'll probably never cast this on you ever again.
I am cursed!
19 this time.
Okay.
You place your hand on your daughter's shoulder, you whisper the words, looking away from her, and you manage to bless. Ironically, bless Oda and not fumble the next time she fumbles. So you have received the blessing from your father. I now must ask you to go ahead and
Do
make
a ritual.
What's the DC on that?
The DC should be 14, I think. Yeah, DC 14. Yeah, and whoever fails to resist magic against my ritual crafting is unable to cross the lines.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. Well, these are peasants, so roll well. That's all I'm going to say. Roll well.
Yeah,
Now's a good time to employ some luck if you really, really want it to be secure.
I want to put 3 points of luck. 3 points? 2 points of luck. Yeah. 24.
What Oda is basically doing by placing the salts down, and she keeps muttering these words to the spirit world as she does so, and perfects this ritual. She's basically locking the barge from entry. It might not seem much to those that aren't superstitious or know of these things, but once Oda is finished, she looks pretty satisfied with her work, dusts off her fingers and her hands, rubs them a bit, and it seems that the ritual is finished.
Now, I must ask of all of you to not disturb these lines.
Arthwin, in knowing Oda's techniques a little bit from their previous interactions, just gives a quick nod, fully respecting the sanctity of the salt.
Wouldn't they just be able to disturb it?
They will, if it goes as planned, try not to get near it.
You do see a dock worker not far down the bottom near the plank. Got any work? For free even, just food. He says as he looks up. Sir, he sees to the Witcher, who was calling out to everyone. Just for food.
Arthwin turns around on his heel and just glares at the man.
He takes a step up, and you watch him stop at the edge of the salt line. I gotta get back. My sister, she needs me. And he turns away, and he walks back down the plank.
At least he'd not explode like the last one.
Oda does like a satisfied nod with her fingers on her chin.
Let us go and find this crying thing, I seem to recall. It's been a long time since we read that letter.
What are we doing here?
Looking for the temple garden, I think. Should one walk the Valette temple gardens new before Melitele, her tears lead us to clarity. If any of you have any ideas to what that could mean.
It could be a secret room behind a big statue in a temple.
Oh, Wagen's so smart.
Oh, that would be the most obvious answer, though.
What would you think?
Witcher also disembarks, plopping down onto the docks, and he looks up towards the castle. And then he looks back at Gorm and he says, I think we have no time to waste, and only one way to find what we're looking for. And he points up towards the castle.
Are there any people nearby?
People are always nearby. This isn't as big as Novigrad. This is nowhere near as big as the kind of settlements that you were just in, even Oxenfurt. If anything, this is a town that is around this citadel, this keep, and it's a multi-layered castle, obviously, that rises up from the docks towards the summit. People are trying to keep themselves busy. They look hungry. They're dirty. They need help.
Well, Gorm is gonna kind of waddle up to the closest people nearby. I'm like, where temple? Oh, Gorm miss God so much.
Miss God so much? Is that what you just said?
That's gonna make a lot of people upset there.
I would like you to defend yourself against a 16.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
He's smacking you.
Do a dodgerino. Oh my god.
15 is not enough. Okay, so you approach a burlier man and a woman in a long gown, ripped, torn from poverty and struggle. As you approach asking this question, the woman turns. The man screams, high-pitched scream. The woman launches a kick straight for your chest, and you take 3 points of damage directly as you fall onto your back and skid, rolling over in the mud, landing on your face. Get away from me! Foul, plowing little runt!
Ow!
Get it away from me! He calls to the rest of you. Get that foul thing away from me!
It's just Gorm!
Oda immediately scurries to help Gorm up on his feet and just throws an angry scowl at the people.
Arthwin moves to assist them as well, sort of nudging both of them with his hand to move away from these people. And he looks down to Gorm and he says, Gorm, these people are not your friends. We are not here to help them, and they're certainly not going to help us. I'm sorry, but we have to move.
But Gorm don't know where temple is.
We'll find it without their help.
Gorm's just a little mopey, and he's like trying to smear the mud off his shirt and stuff.
Arthwin is still... He's not quite the same as he was before the previous night, but even so, his soft spot for Gorm is showing a little bit.
The couple that were working on their net, they lament to one another that there's nothing in the net. They grab what they can of it before someone else comes over and tries to take it from them, but they grab it up and they grab their net and they move back on into town quickly away from the scene. This is a world away from Oxenfurt, from Novigrad, where people are self-absorbed, but they have something. This is pure poverty and desperation. And Gorm, your light burns very brightly here. And people just need to be angry at something.
Oda starts patting like the bit of the dust and grime away from Gorm and then looks him in the eye. Remember what I told you all those years ago, Gorm? Mice. She nods at him.
Gorm remember.
That's all they are.
Mice. Little mice people, yes.
As the group would travel up into the settlement, which is quite an incline from down at the docks, you do see just more and more of the same scene. People desperately trying to barter bits and goods to repair other buildings. Even now, people are trying to sell skinny livestock. There's no meat on the bones. People are very hungry, and a goat goes to somebody for what you could buy 7 goats for somewhere else. Money doesn't mean anything here anymore. Coin is becoming worthless. But there is that one element of familiarity as you come up into the main rise of the settlement. You see a notice board and an inn, as much of the inn that is left.
Vargan is going to walk up to the notice board.
As Vargan moves over to the notice board, Arthwin's instinct is to just ride on past it.
Okay. There are 3 main notices on the board. From left to right, you see different coloured parchments. The first one, we'll go from right to left, actually. The first one reads, by law of the land, the castle and temple grounds are off access to all. Infighting and theft will forego trial and be punishable by death. Lord M. Bale. The second notice is a little bit more manufactured. Sort of printing press used to make it. A simple one at that. And it simply says, join the hunt against the mages, with a symbol of fire and the shape of a sword in hand. Propaganda no less than witch hunters. And the third one is a handwritten note scrawled quickly that reads, I request the aid of an investigator to help me find my missing son, blacksmith Nabal Savik.
What did it say? Gorm, it's too high, Gorm, not see so high.
Gorm, Oda will read them out to Gorm.
Oh, we don't want to join the hunt. No.
It looks like barging into the temple grounds won't be as easy as we might have hoped.
Do we know about the witch hunter outfit? Or was that only...
I think you all know.
Yeah, that was... We were all present, yeah.
You took it, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think,
we have it.
I just couldn't remember if we all knew or you kind of
I
sneakily
think
took it.
everyone was there. Everyone took it and you hid it and then it's on the ship. I think it's in the crow's nest. I think you guys hid it in there.
Arthwin, not knowing about these rules, this new law, is striding up the hill towards the castle.
And he can stride.
Oh boy.
And he has the legs of a man that's walked the path for many, many years. And he can go when he wants to go. And you realise when you see Arthwin moving on his own, he does, to quite some degree, slow himself down to keep pace with all of you. But when he needs to do something, he can...
He can really stride.
He can really go for it. And he's already pacing around the side of the inn, heading towards an incline of a very small path leading to a gatehouse further up on what would probably be the third tier of the settlement, the actual citadel gate itself. I imagine everybody's going over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you, Arthwin, as you approach the gatehouse stands a veteran of war. Dishevelled with handsome features, a man in his late 40s, well adorned with the expected armaments of a captain. He is joined with his men on either side. A good 6 strong men. His face maintains a picture of stoic preservation. He notices you as you approach, but wary of anybody approaching, he lets you come to him first.
Not expecting any trouble, or more than usual anyway, he simply approaches.
As you do, one of the men on the right come forward and say, Captain Stanhart, he can't approach. I know. And Captain Stanhart comes forward to you. Witcher, you can't enter.
The Witcher stops in his tracks and looks at the captain with a mixture of irritation and confusion. Why ever not?
Not until we've dealt with the problem that plagues us. You've arrived on a good morning, Witcher, but I'm afraid the nights are not so good. Perhaps you may be of service to us.
And the Witcher sort of closes his eyes and sighs.
You are not the first person I must turn away. It is a day of it, a week of it, a month.
So this isn't going to be so easy after all.
Easy? What is it you need?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
If you want to enter through, then it is, Witcher.
Maybe I'll tell you. But perhaps if you want my assistance, you'll tell me what you need first.
Lord Bale currently bars entry to anybody other than those he allows. Ever since whatever is over there began. And he points from this height, and you see it right down now into the valley. You see the water, you can see your ship, you can see the barge down from you now, many hundreds of feet. And as you look across the valley, you see this worn, destroyed battlefield in the distance. At least the start of it. And then after that, you see the fog that covers it. As if a veil was covering the land on a summer's morning when the mists are there just before the sun rises high enough to blast them away. But this is later into the morning now. This mist should not remain. You see the grim silhouettes of a few trees in that mist, the odd shape of a siege machine left over from a great battle, blockades, other ruined buildings, but the fog just blankets it, and like a veil of dry ice, you see it just drip down over the sides of the sheer cliffs into the water. That, Witcher, that is the problem?
The Witcher sort of examines what he can see from here, and he lets out like an almost annoyed, sort of frustrated grunt. All right. Seems like you might need my help after all.
Will you be any better than the other three?
That remains to be seen. I'll certainly try. And he sort of just looks down the hill hopefully at his gang approaching.
Gorm is kind of waddling ahead in like a high pace, holding onto his sword in his side. The rustling of chainmail, his belly flopping as he just heads towards Arthwin.
The Vargan and Oda, are you also following
Yeah.
along? All right. So he gestures towards the group and turns back towards the captain. At least I won't be alone in it.
Who is that? Your mage? As he looks down in Oda's direction. A woman, which let's all agree, looks a little more outlandish than the average person.
Instinctively, Arthwin shakes his head. Mage, no.
Not a mage, I'm just a healer.
You don't have to worry about us. This is Temeria, not Redania. We have no time for their witch hunts.
Are we able to tell if he's being genuine?
You can make a human perception check, or you can roll education.
I'm gonna do a lore keeper with a +2. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Those are some rolls. 24, 32.
Nice.
Used up all my dice luck on this.
To know whether or not a man is lying.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, mages tend to be feared and hated across the Northern Realms. But what's going on in Redania is especially juicy right now when it comes to feared and hated. Every region in the north, if they have reason to turn on somebody for being a mage or a witch, usually it ends pretty grim. But there is no crusade going on here in Temeria right now.
Arthwin sort of concedes the point to the captain. She may have dabbled, but even if so, that, and he points over at the devastated area, it doesn't seem very natural to me. Even if she has, she may be your best option.
We will see about what we can do to pay you for your services. Please don't be shocked, though, to know that we don't have a lot. Lady Lavalette has gone to Novigrad to seek assistance from the Free City, and in her stead, Lord Merrick Bale stands as steward. He struggles at this, wincing to himself, dealing with the situation.
And instead of opening his gates to the wounded and the temple as well, he closes them, turns away from the people.
Let us get closer to the bridge so that you may see the affliction at hand. As he walks down the little hill now to get away from the other guards. 2 of them try to leave with him. No, he's quite fine. I can look after myself. And besides, I believe if this Witcher wanted to end our lives, 7 men wouldn't stop him. And he turns back to walk with the rest of you.
Gorm very strong too.
I'm also dangerous. Are the gates? Were we close to the gates at all?
You were just before the gates to the Citadel, Castle, and Temple area, but you've come down the slope now as you're walking right past the ruined inn, and you're heading towards what you would learn is called the River Arch. It's this span that crosses from the main Castle Lavalette towards the land on the other side. He's not crossing it, he's walking towards that bridge.
Real quick, before we sort of have left the area, are we able to see it all through the gate?
Yes, it is a portcullis, so you can see through it.
Does it look as poorly off as the rest of the...
Lovely gardens, well-clipped roses, and there are people walking around inside fine silks and robes, and...
I bet Lord Bale is starving in there himself.
Captain Stannart clears his throat. It has been very difficult to serve that man, and I'm afraid I can't speak so openly when I'm around my men. We're pretty divided in terms of our own support for Lord Bale. We were originally men devoted to the Lavalette family, but since the rebellion, the Council of Temeria are now looking after this castle. So, we have to toe the line.
The last thing you need is another rebellion.
Quite.
But what people eat?
We had some supplies left over. All sieges tend to. Those supplies are growing thin. Had whatever was in the mist not be calling out Baal's name at night, perhaps he wouldn't have reacted so rashly.
Something is calling out his name.
It all happened about a month ago. Not long after the siege ended, Foltest passed away, was slain in the citadel. A few days after, there came the mist, and then the name Baal at night, haunting. Of course, the man has as much spine as a weasel. Closed up the gates, still in there now. Claims that we will overrun him, all of us living down here. Had we the chance, and is using that.
What mist monster?
I am not a witcher. I do not know.
As the captain's been speaking, Arthwin has been sort of making, listening intently, making mental notes of what he's been saying. Can everyone else hear this voice, or is it just the Lord?
As far as I'm aware, all my men can hear it. The ones on patrol, the people, the locals, those out. People will not keep to curfew for much longer.
You've never heard the voice yourself?
I have heard it. Baal. And it wails it out, long and mourning.
Is it a man's voice or a woman's voice?
A male voice, I believe.
You don't recognize it?
I know nothing more than what I know and what I've seen. But there is a woman that comes every night. She walks out onto the bridge. There we see enchantments flare from her fingers, and the mist is pushed away from the bridge, back over to the other side.
And you know not who this woman is?
I do. The sorceress Abravar of Lyria. She stays at the inn. You must understand something. And he looks around to make sure that there are not many two people listening. We probably have no more than 2 weeks of rations and supplies here. Before it gets very serious. Also, what is that?
Hello, it's Gorm.
Gorm.
Gorm, mighty warrior. Gorm, help, okay?
He is werebub, very rare species to be found in our places of the world.
Quite friendly.
Gorm come from mountain.
Did you? I heard off in the east, a tribe of werebubs were recently slain. A town was found. The fear of the locals believing they were taking their resources. I heard it was quick and very bloody.
Gorm not like this.
I'm sorry. News is just what news is. He stops outside the inn and gestures to the bridge. There it is. You will have my permission to cross it. But trust me when I say, those that have crossed it have not returned, and you do so at your own peril. Do you understand?
Of course.
I will not allow anyone else to go with you.
We should expect nothing less.
We may have more questions for you. Will we find you at the castle?
You will find me at the castle gate.
And you have served as Lord Baal for...
I have always served Maria Louisa Lavalette and her family. And I fought in the rebellion. But we lost. I respect the politics and the war, but I am still just a man.
Gorm pats his leg.
Can you get out of my leg? I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you, but just stop patting my leg, please.
Gorm, just be nice.
Yeah, we'll be wise. He's not had a proper bath in days.
Yes, I did wonder what the smell was.
Gorm washes.
He normally smells much better, I promise.
One last question, if I may.
Of course, but then I must return to my post.
This Lord Baal, how would you describe him in his position?
Lord Baal is a steward, and a steward is all he is. He sits in the chair, and he orders, mandates, and directs us to do as he will. He enjoys the power given to him, and a little part of me believes he hopes Maria Louisa Lavalette does not return. But he never comes out. He does not speak with the people, nor does he have time to even hear their pleas. No, I must leave.
Bye. So we go over bridge now or find witch lady,
Arthwin looks towards the inn and then back towards the bridge. it would be wise to consult with this woman who's been apparently keeping the mists at bay. Though, let us try to be discreet about it.
I agree.
So, Arthwin is going to just start heading towards the inn. Just a quick reminder, Arthwin doesn't know about the notice board thing about the missing son. So he might have had something to say about that, but he's...
Well,
he's
you have to pass the board, unless you also pass it a second time.
No, he's passing it again.
Okay, first off, do want to rip off that witch hunter thing, right, as I walk by, and kind of take the missing son one as well and put it on top. It looks, fold it up.
That's fine. You take it, no problem at all.
Okay.
No problem at all. And you head on towards the inn then. See, one could imagine an inviting tavern sign would once have swung over the double doors of the Ram's Head Inn. Now that the sign has been shattered into pieces before the threshold, half of the building slants off into ruin. The ground floor bedrooms and accommodation are levelled. Whatever furniture that survived sits out and exposed. Only the drinking hall of the inn remains in one piece, though its roof is marred with holes that expose inn patrons to whatever the weather has to offer at the hour. The place is miserable, cold and rough, along with many of the people who attend it. You head on in and you see the people just leant over cracked and chipped glasses, mugs that are like hewn off or chipped, and people are just drinking, and the drink doesn't look great. And what better way to medicate the people than to keep them drunk? A few people give you shady glances. A couple of people notice Gorm when you come in, and that's enough for them to depart and leave, leaving their flagons and mugs where they are.
Fewer people that are here, the better. Do we see anyone who might match a description of a witch?
Sat elegantly and alone away from others is a woman robed in fair silks. Her beautiful blue eyes and golden hair strike clear at a quick glance, along with the air of dignity she keeps, the kind grace and poise she so effortlessly emanates. Her smile is warm and sweet. Her gaze is careful and comfortable. She gently nods to the party in acknowledgement of their presence as she sees you enter, turning to look in your direction.
Arthwin's going to just stride on over to the sorceress, nonchalantly pull up a chair, spin it around, sit on it the wrong way.
Before you begin, she says, you're not going to try and chop off one of our fingers, are you?
Arthwin just looks confused for a second and then shakes his head.
Because that's what the last Witcher tried to do that came through here. Ghastly woman. Funny thing, I believe she was blind in one eye. She had an argument with a fella over in that corner and chopped off his finger. She left along with two others.
Old man?
Old man. No.
Could have been Calculustine.
I am Abravar of Lyria. It is a pleasure to meet you all. And she looks around, gauging all of you. And there's a lot more going on than just looking at you. Anyone that can feel it. So the Witcher's medallion begins to vibrate. And Vargan, you feel the prickles on the back of your neck, along with Oda. As she is assessing you, you get the feeling that she's trying to work out if you are a threat.
Gorm will look quite excited to finally have found someone who's not hostile. And just kind of smiling.
You've got a lot to be very happy about. Would you like to take a seat?
Okay.
She pats the chair.
Oh, Gorm just flops up on the chair.
How old are you?
Gorm, not old, but not young. Oh, Gorm has an age.
Are you Gorm the Colossal?
You know Gorm?
I have heard of you.
He can't seriously be known for that name.
He is known for that name. This is Gorm the Colossal, or as songs would have it. There are a number of songs that don't sing so lightly of him.
Aww.
Some say that you are a colossal, well, something. A word that I don't think is very dignified.
Gorm know that. Gorm know like that song.
Slayer of many beasts. That's what they say. The capturer of many women, of hearts, and and also of women, but I don't believe that's true of you. I don't know if any of it's true of you now that I look at you.
Gorm, very great warrior. Also very lucky with ladies.
I see. I didn't have the opportunity to make all of the rest of your acquaintances.
Oda, of the old ways, but you may simply call me Oda.
I am Vargan.
Vargan. Vargan of Skellige. Vargan the Druid. Vargan of the Circle. I know who you are.
Oda squints at the woman.
I had a sister of mine, Rizara. She went off to become a priestess. She speaks very highly of you, Vargan. Do you remember Rizara?
I do recall. She taught me a great many new things from her views of Morrigan.
She was one of few priests of the Morrigan, but I'm afraid that she was recently burned at the stake.
Oh no!
As many of our clan before, unfortunately.
My condolences.
When she returned from Skellige, she led a great many of people to a new area of enlightened thought. She taught people more about nature. Priestesses of the Morrigan do not usually venture forth into communities and settlements. Usually, they serve in simplicity. You had an effect on her, Vargan. And she did speak highly of you.
I only hope she led a good life then.
You also know Arthwin.
Arthwin. Arthwin the Grizzly.
Yeah.
Arthwin, he perks up when she says his name, but as soon as she adds on the title, he slumps down again.
I have lived for many, many decades, but none a story have been as grim as that of Arthwin the Grizzly. It is said, is it not, that you entered into Flotsam and slaughtered many...
Arthwin's already shaking his head.
Oh, no. Arthwin don't do that.
They say that one man after the next fell at your wrath, and that no reason was given, only that you were not given what you asked for. Very un-Witcher-like, considering you are a bear and not a cat.
Not a person. Human.
Arthwin has been shaking his head as she speaks, and rather than interrupt her, he waits until she's finished, and then just clears his throat. Whatever you may have heard, I can assure you, it is lies and slander. Nothing but.
We are not here to talk about ourselves, but about the mist.
The mist is a problem. And as I'm sure you can imagine from what I've just said of the previous witches who were here, I did not seek them for help, nor did I believe they had the agenda to want to help.
Can you describe them briefly? I'm a little bit afraid we may know who these are.
A woman, as I said, with a missing eye, or at least the eye was there, but she was blinded. There was something awfully strange about her. Unhinged would be the term I would use.
Oda gives Vargan a little squeeze in the side, like a little pinch, and just like, it's this look of, oh.
Gorm don't know this person.
I think we know who they are. And that troubles me some. How recent was it since they were here?
Maybe 4 days ago.
Oh no, it's witch hunters?
No. Worse. Witchers working as assassins.
Oh no.
Working for the side that will eventually be against them?
None can speak of the motives of mutants. Forgive me.
Arthwin was about to speak up, but thinks better of it.
So what in mist?
I do not know. But what I do know is it's creeping towards this castle. For the last few weeks, I have gone out, and I have performed a basic enchantment to push back the mist from the bridge. Whatever is inside it needs the mist. That is all I know. Paves the way, masks it. Witcher, perhaps you know more than I do.
And the mist, it cools out every night, does it not?
It calls to Lord Bale.
Stands to reason that Lord Bale is the victim of the curse. Surely must have something to do with the troubles these people are having.
All I know, Witcher, is that great strife and suffering often opens a door for all sorts of curses and all manner of evil.
if it is indeed a curse, there's a fair few things that it could be.
Oh, then Morgan knows. Morgan very smart.
Worgen will sit and ponder on it. What could it be? Something that needs to move in a mist, as far as monsters go. Or is able to produce. And also simultaneously speak.
A were-rat.
No, Gorm, no.
Oh.
Witcher, I do not know your experience when it comes to creatures and curses, or that which you have notched your belt with. I do believe it will need some investigation, but that is not the only problem here in this settlement.
Smith's son.
You heard?
Order read from board.
If the smith's son is missing, the smith is distracted. If the smith is distracted, this settlement is not being repaired.
Arthwin gestures around at the broken down, run down ceiling and walls. That much is obvious.
And Gorm kind of looks at Arthwin with his little puppy eyes like, can we help people?
It seems in this instance, Gorm, it happens to be in our best interest as well. So yes, Gorm, we can help people.
Oh, yay!
And that is all we have time for today. So be sure to listen in to episode 14 of The Witcher, Chaos on the Pontar, to find out what happens next time. Until then, bye-bye.